Hey everybody, Jason Shadrick here with PremierGuitar.com. We're at the Winter NAMM show in Anaheim. I'm here with Dave from Seymour Duncan. We're in the Cone of Silence here. You know,
serene environment, if you will.
Serene environment. It's to talk about some new products from Seymour Duncan. And what we were hearing on the intro there was the Andromeda delay.
Yes.
So give me kind of a brief description of what that's all about and how you guys came about this.
Absolutely. So the Andromeda delay functions mostly like you would expect a delay to do, but we're going to solve some basic problems with it initially that make it a lot easier. So if you're looking at here, and I'm just going to kind of point directly, we have analog and digital settings that feature everything a typical delay does. You know, you have your ping pong and your reverse and your standard way of manipulating your initial delay. We have, of course, our feedback and the delay time and the way that we can kind of set them with our measurements there. But the features about this that are significant, if you notice, we have a saturation, a tone control on a delay pedal, which is pretty cool because that's kind of rare. And then we have our modulation feature and then our overall mix. Now, what we came out with last year, which was really significant in the pedal line, was a thing we call dynamic expression. And dynamic expression is a way that we can actually play the effect and control the delay in this particular case, because that's the pedal we're talking about, by the way that I articulate with my strumming hand. So I have it set at the soft setting, and that would be over here. This indicates where my threshold is. So everybody hits the guitar different, right? And it all reacts a little bit differently. So if I turn this on, you hear the modulation if I'm playing soft. If I hit it harder, the modulation goes away. So you can do that with the saturation, and you can do that with these other features that we have down here. So we don't have any scrolling menus, and we have everything right on the surface. It's a $299 price point, and everybody's really familiar, at least with that algorithm, you know, that creates that kind of sense of modulation. So it's so easy to use. Literally, you can figure it out in like 5 minutes. And the thing that's cool, again, to go on further, you can make it feel like it's in an effects loop by being in front of your amplifier. And that's by this trail button that we have here, and we can adjust it. So as I get distorted with the Palladium pedal that we came out with last year, pretend like my little Van Halen sounds and stuff, but you don't hear everything until after, you know? Because I think when you're playing way too many notes, you want to hear it after the fact, right? If it gets in front sometimes, and that might not be the delay setting that people choose playing in that fashion, but the thing is you don't have your notes spilling over the top of each other. This is sitting in front of your amp, and you can control that by the mix and just by the simple features that we have on the top. So that's the main hit point with the Andromeda pedal. And everybody's a really big fan of the fact that you can make it modulate, and then quickly with the tap feature, I can adjust it. It's got a really warm sound to it. I mean, you can hear the difference too as I switch over to the digital side. It brightens up, you know, so you can really feel that. And since we're in here, I bet you we can hear the saturation. Kind of tape it up a little bit. But if I screw up my tap, I can immediately fix it just by going straight to the knob.
As we did earlier.
Yeah.
We were setting it up.
Exactly. As we were humanizing
And so,
ourselves.
are there presets available on this? Is that what that screen helps with?
That is a bank that we can store it in, so there's going to be some presets available, but more importantly than anything, you can store whatever you want really easily just by holding these two buttons down. You can scroll through it right here really fast, and you have all the options that you need right there in front of you.
And
Yeah.
can you show me like some of the more, we kind of went through some digital and tape on, what are kind of some of the more extreme settings on the Andromeda?
Let's check it out. So I'm going to set the time difference here, and we'll play with it. Turn up our feedback. Right, so we have all of these crazy things that we can kind of manipulate and tweak, but I like to stick it at least in this area. So now if I switch this off, this is the dynamic expression, right? So I'm going to take that off just so you can see that you don't need that all the time, of course. Turn up my saturation a little bit. I'm going to brighten up my tone, turn up my mix. So it can get pretty extreme, and it's really easy to control. We'll maybe turn it up a little bit so we get a longer delay time. So you can kind of play with it that way. It's so easy to manipulate, and I like the way that it reacts.
Yeah.
You know, really, really significant in that respect.
All right, so now let's segue over to the PowerStage, which is sitting here, and this is
The PowerStage 170 came about because we realized as we came out with the Palladium high gain stage pedal last year, We wanted to solve the problem of basically creating it so that you had the perfect clean tone amp at an affordable price that was a clean platform created for voicing guitar tone. So it has a preamp in it, it has global EQing on it, and it is voiced specifically for guitar. So as we just go straight to that, we can really hear how it blooms, and it has that sound, and it makes all of them, the relationship between the pedals, react so clean and pure, and the articulation is really, really tight. I mean, we're in this room with the carpet, you could really feel the throw of it, you know, it's really pushing a lot of air.
So you could bring this pedal board, throw a cab in the back of your car,
absolutely.
and off you go.
Absolutely, and what's really great about this too is if I had minimal things I needed for my gig, any pedals are like an ice cream shop these days, right? Like everybody's got everything. So if I go to the 805 and I'm looking for I'm treating it in my head that I have many different amps, right, at my disposal just by having a 2-pound 170 watt amplifier. And then the other end of it too, which is really significant if I really just oversaturate it, is that I can roll it off and clean it up pretty good. We'll turn it up just for the sake of the microphone.
So I imagine this would also be good for people who maybe do a lot of flight aids, not sure about backline.
That's the comfort of it, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're going to use, and everybody that travels in that particular situation has had that happen to them, where maybe you end up somewhere and they do their best for you, and unfortunately it's not what you're used to.
Or even a fail-safe if a vintage tube amp were to crap out on the gig.
Yeah, absolutely. At the booth this year, we've had a wide range of people play. We had Rappaport was in here playing. We had a really great guy from named Arturo playing from Europe. We had a dude playing 32-string guitar, all this different stuff. Dario from Black Label came in, and everybody was a little bit apprehensive because they didn't have their rig, right? But everybody made their life totally work just off the pedal board, using the various pedals and stuff, because you can manipulate it to be any genre or style that you need, but you're just starting with something that everybody could afford. So it kind of covers the gamut. And then, as you're kind of foreshadowing over there, right, we have another platform that we could use it in, and that's addressing how it would be for a modeler. So we have what we call the PowerStage 700. And the PowerStage 700 is a rack mountable form that has global EQing in it. The best part about that is there is cabinet simulation that comes out of the back. So there's 2 stereo outs that are 700 watts each channel. And they could go to the PA system. It has great cabinet simulation, and then you can blend in the actual product with the PA if you wanted to. So I mean, I guess in theory you could go dry at front of house, have a cool sound coming out of your wedge or whatever you would do if you had a cabinet. So it's all about having a clean platform for the way that we manipulate tone in a modern format. Right. That's really it. It's voice for guitar, be it that it has a preamp in it, it gives it that spongy, real nice, you know, sag if you need it, tight if you don't, you know. And we just want to basically have a really good amp that's available to people, because that's how we're looking at it. It's a power amp, but it's a clean amp that makes all your pedals work, and as you said, you can just go.
So you said there's cabinet emulation on that one.
Yeah.
Is it on this one?
It is not on this. That's stereo. This is mono. So this does not have cabinet simulation in it. The 700 does.
And what will be pricing and availability on the 2 versions?
This is $399, and that I believe is $699.
So where can people go online to find out more about the PowerStage, the Andromeda, and all the other pedals and pickups and everything else you guys do down at Seymour?
Of course, we can go to our website, of course. You know, just type in Seymour Duncan in any search engine, you're going to go straight to our website. And then, of course, all the other applications that you can find our products, like Sweetwater and things like that.
All right, Dave, buddy.
Dude, I appreciate it.
Thank you so much,
it's so
man.
Good to do this with you, man. I always watch all your stuff.
Thank you. This is Jason Shadrick with PremierGuitar.com.